Uh, Hello, everyone.
Is it okay now?
Yes, Francois, you started a little bit early. Just give me a few seconds. We still have, first of all, welcome to our webinar with BridgeTree Digital Care Communications. We still have time before we start, so we have around 6 minutes. I will just kindly ask to give me a shout out if you hear us properly, if you see Francois, if everything is good and the connection is good. Here we have a corresponding area with the field where it's possible to type in your questions. So if you could just let me know about the quality of our audio, that would be highly appreciated. Thank you. And I will let you know when we start. Francois, I can see your.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah,
We have to wait.
I can see your collaboration. Yes, we have to wait 4 minutes more, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no problem. So let me find back.
Yeah, just your presentation.
My presentation is here.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I guess everyone can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we still have 2 minutes to wait, and we will start shortly. So, okay, I guess we're ready to start. Let me do a short introduction of today's webinar. So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining our Discover webinar co-hosted by Wildix and one of our technological partners, BridgeTree Digital Care Communications. Thanks a lot for your time and thanks for joining us. The webinar will be hosted by Mr. Francois Montadon, Business Development Director for BridgeTree in Europe. I would like just to say a few things before Francois starts. I would like to say that your microphones are muted, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them after the webinar. The webinar's recording will be available and emailed shortly after the webinar. So I guess this is everything I wanted to say before we start. Thanks again for being with us, and I'm giving the floor to Francois. Francois, please.
So hello, I hope that you can hear me. So now we're gonna have a full screen here so I can start the presentation. So I present. Takes some time. Yeah, okay, so we're going to go through what BridgeTree digital care communication can do. So first, something, let's say, very general. We are entering now in the longevity economy. Since the beginning of 2000s, approximately, 50% of the population worldwide moved from rural areas to towns. And so children became from, let's say, potential labor in traditional rural areas became a burden in cities. These plus lower birth rates, development in healthcare, extended life expectancy, and specific situations like the baby boom in the West or the one-child policy makes that we have a much higher proportion today of more than 65 years old population. This said, technology can play an important role in helping the aged population. The software developed for this purpose is coined as assisted living software. So BridgeTree DCC is an assisted living software. Specifically in the UK, the population was in 2016 65.6 million inhabitants. This said, the population is going to grow, and the UK is getting older and older, with 18% age more than 65 and 2.4 age 85 and over. Okay, that's quite a lot. To give you an idea, in 1976, 14% of the Brits were 65 and older, and in 2016 it's going to be 24%. So that means a lot of people will have to be helped in a relatively short term, and this means a business and industry. So what is BridgeTree doing with this? So let's have a look here. It's a tool that connects care providers, staff, and caregivers, care recipients, families, and relatives. Okay, so what do we call the care recipients? Is the elderly who are sitting and residing in caring homes. They can be in nursing homes, senior residences, or maybe simply at home. The families and relatives, well, it's obvious, is their relatives, but in several cases, they are the buyers of the service. So it's very important they communicate, but they're also the ones, specifically in the case of caring homes and nursing homes, the ones who are buying the service. The care providers, well, as I said, the caring home, nursing home, or even people delivering services at home and so on. The caregivers are the people who actually deliver the service to these elderly, can be professionals in the medical sector or non-medical caregivers. So BridgeTree is enabling communication among these four parties. Okay, to give you an example, and you will see it later during the demo, care recipient, so an aging person, is going to check in using his device on a Wildix Vision, for example, and the care provider and care families will be notified, either in a computer, any device, mobile phone, and so on. You also have, for example, if it's a caring home house calendar, family can have a look at the house calendar. In the care recipient can also have a look at his house calendar. And you know that when we are aging, we tend to have cognitive issues. So this kind of tool is going to help the elderly to live better. So let's have a view on what we call the BridgeTree positioning statement. So you can read it. A few words about the existing communication tools and software, okay, to see how we position ourselves. You have people who are supplying alarm systems with whom Wildix already work, with vendors like Ascom, Televic, BT Chino, that are already integrated to the Wildix PBX, okay. The PBX itself, okay, that is today mostly used by the staff supporting operation, essentially voice, okay? You push the alarm and you can answer, or people can talk to each other. Then you have the management software. These are the kind of ERPs used by the caring homes where they register the residents, they bill, they have all the tasks management for the caregivers. Something very important, the drug planning too, for each care recipient. There are some drugs to be given. Then you have other platforms that are enabling communications between families and residents. These are mostly found on smartphones and so on, and care recipients and families can communicate. But we do not have software that enables communication between all these four parties. This is what we do, and it's our added value. We enable real-time communications among all parties. Therefore, a care provider can communicate with the family or with a care recipient, both at the same time, and so on. So here, let's have a look how it's going to work. So the care recipients, in our case, are going to use the Wildix Vision phones. They could also use tablets, but let's say the Vision phone has the advantage to be always connected. There are no problems with power supplies and things like that. In care home, for example, the staff is not so happy to have to configure a smartphone. Okay, you have to know iOS, Android, and the elderly will all have problems and so on. So they are not that happy to have these tools that will bring more work and more hassle. Okay, so we give them a very simple tool on a Vision phone that is always working. Okay, we also could add on the app, and you will see after how it works. You can also add Facebook in it, so a care recipient can access to his Facebook page and so on. The families are going to use either their computers or tablets or smartphones, accessing through a family portal where they're going to have a look at receive text, maybe do conferences and so on. Care providers, they will access either via the same device as the care recipient. I'll show you after how, or maybe their own tablets. Of course, the care provider, he uses a computer on a usually interface that is a management interface, administration interface that I will show you. So now it's time for the demo. So for this, I'm going to go out of the presentation here. I open. You should see now the administration page. And I don't know if you see the camera, but you should be able to see the Vision phone. I hope it's working well. Okay. have to see here what I'm sending. Yeah, exactly like this. So this is how the Wildix phone is looking with the application. So you can see here it's a bit different from collaboration. On top you have less buttons. Okay, so in this case, this individual here, Mrs. Maria Elena Cortez Garcia, received the message. So very easy to use. Okay, we come back here, we exit, check in, you check in, have a look at the calendar. For example, today there is a webinar presentation. You have a checklist, webinar, and so on. A very easy interface, okay, for elderly people, and to which they can access, and of course more, let's say, applications within the app can be added in here, whatever, even Facebook or any other thing can be added here. It's pretty simple, straightforward, easy. Okay, if you want to do a phone call, you just take the phone like that, and that's very pretty straightforward. Okay, let me just close. We come back to the app. You have the phone calls here and things like that. Okay, so that's a pretty easy and straightforward way to use the telephone, a more simple app than using a smartphone where you would have many applications and issues and you have to configure it yourself. I don't know if some of you have done that for your parents. I had to do it for my mom and my father. It was not that simple. Okay, so now I'm gonna share here. Probably you see the administration interface. I'm gonna move here this thing. Yeah. So here you can manage clients. Okay. So these are the care recipients within the that arrive in the organization. So as in all interfaces, you can manage the existing clients. You can allocate features. This is pretty nice. If, for example, one house or somebody doesn't want to have the checklist because, I don't know, they don't use a checklist, well, they will be able to activate, deactivate, okay, enable, disable for each or for all care recipients. Then you have the deleted clients and the family members, which you will add here, okay? For every recipient, you give the right to, let's say, daughter, granddaughter, and so on. So you have a control on who is communicating with your care recipient in your caring home. So this is a bit about, let's say, the administration of the users of the solution. Okay. Also the same for the caregivers. Okay. So you could add caregivers in the database. And this is all for the user, let's say, management. Okay, so users are again care recipients, okay, caregivers, and family members. So let's have a look here on the check-in. Well, I have done a check-in, so normally we should see this Mrs. Cortez here somewhere on the session 1. Status, for some reason she hasn't done the check-in time. I think, yeah, I haven't done the check-in, so wait a second, I should do it. Check-in, thank you. And if I go here, we should see that Mrs. Well, takes some time maybe to get the thing updated. Okay, that's the check-in function. So I come back to other features here, the checklist, okay? So you have seen already a checklist. Take some time to download. So here I have added the Wildix webinar for everybody, okay? So that was what I have done. So if I add an item, I can add test here. Let's say today, do like that. Up, add checklist item. And most probably, if I come here, I should see the test. So I see I have some delay on the time. Well, it takes some time, obviously, to update on my phone. But okay, basically, I think you see how this is working. So more features here. The calendar is going to be the same thing. I can add an event for the house. So I have here, I can choose the different calendars. In this case, I have chosen the house calendar. So I can add here an event that I'm going to add for everybody. Okay. So again, test. Sorry, something wrong. Test here. Test here. I have a starting time, okay, so it's going to be 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. and I send to everybody. Same. Everybody should have this updated in his phone, on his device. So I come here, I'll send a message, for example, to everybody. Same thing. How is the webinar? Like that. Send to everybody. Send message. And you can see here on the phone, I received the message. Okay, this worked more instantaneously. I think that now if I add something on the calendar, you should be able to see it. For some reason not. Okay. Additional features are the surveys too. You can survey the people, ask them if the webinar was okay or not. And there is a special function, is a directory. This is in case you want to connect the caring home or the person at home with third parties, dentist, okay, or whatever service. So maybe you can see that in the phone. People could be able to call a pharmacy from that home, for example, with the phone. Okay, so this opens the idea of partnerships among the care providers and third-party service providers. We can extend and develop more and more applications. For example, here there was a basic one that was the weather. This is pretty straightforward and easy. And but any other request will be open to help to develop that. So let me come back now to the presentation. I present again. Oh, I'm coming back. So after the demo, here we're going to talk about the target market. So essentially we are selling this to nursing home, caring homes, retiring communities, what we call domiciliary care operators is people serving, aging people at home, and alarm operators, people who the service there is when they sell those panic button sensors and things like that to people who are living at home. Okay. At the moment, nursing homes are not a priority, mainly because the care recipients have a very limited cognitive capacities, and in fact, they won't be able to use this kind of software and neither other kind of software phones and so on. The domiciliary care and alarm operators are not a priority again, because let's say the market is pretty complicated. You have from one side those operators, alarm operators, and domiciliary care are two different players. They don't work together. And it's also important in terms of regulations. Imagine the software doesn't work at home, somebody dies or whatever, there is a high risk. And at the moment, deploy this for let's say, domiciliary operators would require a lot of legal and regulations and procedures that we are not ready to do at the moment. So let's say the target market is for us the caring homes and the retiring communities. Caring homes, you have from independent, means one home with 50 beds, for example, 50 people. Let's say we can call that boutique caring homes, up to very, very important companies, corporations that maybe manage 30,000, 40,000 beds, let's say, or people, okay? In between mid-size ones, okay? So the major groups, they tend to develop their own software. So they are not our customers, and more, let's say, the mid-size caring homes, groups, companies that have from 4 to 5 homes, okay, and maybe 200 to 500 care recipients under management. Okay, so note that then we have, let's say, also the retiring communities. This is where people go. They are fairly young, 65 years old. In that business, young is 65 to 70, and they go by themselves to those retiring communities. They have basic services, and there too, they would be open to buy this kind of or to use this kind of system to stay in touch either with retiring community management, basic care providers, caregivers, who in this case will offer a basic service, and their families. Okay. In the case of retiring communities, the customer, the person who's going to buy the service or use it is in fact generally the care recipient. But in the case of the caring homes, not. This is the family. The family is generally offering, financing the end of life cycle of the people in the caring home. So let's say the product and service are the same for both industries, okay, but the business model and therefore all the marketing variables are different, including specifically, licensing and pricing that would be different. So to give you an idea of some customer profiles, this is the biggest private group in the UK. So maybe you can see this company, as far as I know, has like something like 20 people, 20,000 people under management. I have here another one. This is a French one, the major French company. They already are. They opened branches in China. Germany, all around Europe. Okay, so we're talking about big multinationals, a bit similar to what you can have in hospitality. This could be like kind of a Hilton of that industry, or here again, one in Spain. If you look at Bayesol, also a major company, okay, with operations worldwide. Our target market is, as I mentioned, the private mid-sized to boutique operations, rather than those big groups that have their own software development teams and or own, let's say, the whole service. The retiring communities is, let's say, a bit more complex. Most time they are operated by real estate organization. It happens that nursing and caring home groups also manage retiring communities, as it's the place where they can capture the customer. Okay, you go there at the age of 65, and then they're gonna stay with you up to the last of your days. The domiciliary care operators, okay, I mentioned, are not customers, but it's a wide range of services, and sometimes a lot of them are operated by insurances and all kind of companies. Alarm operators, generally call centers, and people like that. So very different companies that makes let's say, the general domiciliary care a bit a complex market, but very interesting, but complex. So a bit more specific about Wildix, okay, how you enable BT on a Wildix phone. At the moment, okay, you have, we do it on a phone, so you go to the interface in the settings, okay, you enter the application license code, and after you're going to have the page displayed, you have to configure by default the URL, okay, as a main display. The thing here is you can see in this picture you have the different collaboration functionalities in the version, and you can see in the phone here, not so the case. You permanently see the BT app. The only thing you see of the Wildix application, let's say, is the basic phone application. There is no collaboration among the care recipients, of course. That's the thing. Also, one comment here, you can imagine that you need to sell a business license because you're using the APIs and not the voice license, as you usually do when you deal with a care home. So once this is done on each phone, you have to enter the device ID. This is important. BridgeTree is not a user license code, is a device. Okay, so you control not only the user but also the devices he is using. So in case you would have a tablet, and a phone, you would have two licenses: one for the tablet, one for the phone. So like this, using the administration, you know what device is working, not working, and what is happening. Okay, this is important in the case of elderly. They will not have 20 devices, and you want to know how many devices they have. So, partnering with us, we're a bit a different kind of company versus other, let's say, technological partners, as we are a startup. Okay, that makes us a bit different. So, as I mentioned, target is the care homes. So we will work with some of you who already have an existing customer base. Generally, the PBX is already supporting, let's say, operations, means communications among the staff, okay, the caregivers, and sometimes this is integrated only to the alarm systems, and not the care recipients are not included in this. But you can use and start working on this customer base, and the existing PBX can support the PBX for residents with the application. Okay, and then of course new markets and specific new customers in this care home environment with the Wildix and BridgeTree bundle. That makes you quite different from any other, let's say, PBX. We will work together, and we look for, let's say, and it's very important, a small and committed network of partners, okay, in 2 or 3 in the UK, 2 or 3 in France, and so on, will help you to market in your area and work out the pricing of the BridgeTree recurrent free, plus the pricing of the Wildix business licenses for the care recipients who are using this. So after we have the occasion to discuss more about this, if you are interested, you can have a one-to-one discussion. So last thing, okay, this is what are the BridgeTree benefits, potential savings for the caring home, or for the eventually also for the communities. Okay, it's also revenues opportunities for care providers. They can sell the service, okay, or can be also a differentiator. Okay? You versus another company, another care home, but mainly we expect them to sell to the families the service. One thing that is important is the transparency. At the moment, there is some pressure from the public on the care homes. They are like black boxes, okay, and you might have seen on the press some issues with this. No one knows what is happening there. With this kind of system, the care home can communicate with the family. The family knows what is happening on the calendar. There might be a personal calendar and so on. And it's comfort for the care recipients. I mentioned the cognitive issues. Sometimes people forget. Instead of having to call and ask and so on, well, they have everything in their device. Even if you have issues with your memory, you still know what is the calendar. And last but not least, this is peace for the families and relatives. They know what is happening. They know when, how, what the families do, what the care recipient is doing at the home, if there are events, if they woke up, if not, and so on. Okay. So in case you want to contact us here, you have our emails, but after the webinar, we'll be able to discuss. And I think now is the time for the Q&A session. So
yes,
what should I do?
Yes,
it's okay.
Let me help you with that.
I stopped sharing. Wait a second.
It's okay. We have a few questions.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question is, one vision phone goes to one patient. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's one patient. Yeah. You cannot imagine, because there are also personal calendars and text messages. So I mean, you can share text messages with a family, with somebody else.
Good.
Not only is one patient, is one device. Okay.
Thank you for that. Is this available in the USA? Yes, it is available.
Available in the USA?
Yes. The question is this available?
Yes.
Thank you. And I guess
maybe you have a look
this
at
it.
Wait a second.
Dear attendees, do you have any other questions to Francois? We still have a few minutes to answer them. Please feel free.
So it is meaning everybody understood everything?
Yes. Another question. Are there any companies in the USA using this?
So no, we are a startup company, and at the moment, maybe Albert. Is Albert online? Because Albert is dealing with the US.
Yes. So I will send a follow-up email with the information, and then I guess you could move forward.
Yeah, because I'm taking care of Europe, so there are activities in the US, but I prefer Albert answer this.
Okay, thank you. How many employees and patients you have at the moment? That's
we are a startup, so we're starting a few projects. So we'll be honest, this is new. We are starting now with the release 1.0, so it's a new project. So you have to have the courage to start with us. That's the difference between a startup and a well-established business like Ascom or whoever.
Thank you. I would like further information one-to-one after the event. Looks interesting. Is there a demo device that we could look at?
Yeah, I mean, a demo kit is very simple. It's a Wildix Vision phone, and we open a domain for you guys, and you can play with the system. You have a training. That's all what you need, and a PBX, of course. But this, I guess, you already have a Wildix PBX.
Thank you.
So demo kit, you don't need anything. You already have it. So.
Francois, does this integrate to nurse call systems?
No, at the moment not, but it's a, if you're using a Wildix PBX, okay, and the Wildix PBX is integrated to the nurse calling system, so therefore it's integrated already. You understand? We could add a button on the application, and you can use it as a, but I don't think it's generally the alarm system is a physical button, but it's possible to integrate.
Thank you. Where is all data held for records?
On our services. I forgot maybe to mention that it's a software as a service, so it's a cloud service. Okay, So we do host the data, and this might be an issue in some cases because we should have to have servers in the countries. Okay? Can be, depends. We are flexible with that.
Yeah, for the UK users, who hosts the backend?
Yeah.
Where will the backend be located?
Who hold it?
Yeah. So the question is,
at the moment.
Where is all data?
I don't understand it. All data, okay, all data at the moment in Germany, okay, but these can be. I mean, we are, I think, if I'm not wrong, on Amazon Web Services, so this can be moved somewhere else. This is where the data is, in fact.
Good. So
yeah. On AWS.
Henry, I guess we answered the question to your. Okay. Is this a cheap solution? Because there are different levels of care in homes. Sorry.
Look, generally, I mean, initially we thought selling by licenses per user, okay? But now more and more, we think that the adapted model is just a monthly fee on OPEX basis. And this fee still will depend on the number of residents. So we're open to fix the pricing. One of the issues is the Wildix license, which is a business license. So indeed, yes, once you have added the business license plus the software, it's going to be fairly expensive for the caring home. Depends, I mean, on the caring home.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, then I would thank everyone for joining the webinar. Thank you very much, Francois, for your presentation. Wishing everyone a very good day, and thanks again for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for listening. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.